Yo, what is good, NYU? Episode 18 of the Silence Behind the Violence podcast. You are going to be listening to me speak with women's golf standout, Camilla Chung. Camilla, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. We wanted to get individual from the men's side as well. Unfortunately, didn't work out, but I know it's going to be a good conversation nonetheless. One of the questions that I did have on here, rather had in my mind, but not on here, Camilla, not to throw you off. California native, is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Bay Area, San Francisco, born and raised.
In the building.
Yeah.
Got you. And were you born? Or no, you said born and raised. At what point did you move here? Rather, did you only come here for college, or did you move to the East Coast?
I moved here for college. Grew up in the city. Went to middle school, high school in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and had you been to New York prior to NYU at all, or never?
Never.
Wow.
I actually have an aunt who lives in New Jersey now, and at the time she was probably in her late 20s, and so she was working in the city. And when she would come back to visit us in San Francisco, she'd always be like, "Yeah, it's so great. It literally never sleeps. There's so much to do there." And so I was always excited to come and visit.
Got you. Yeah, I always look at somebody's hometown just to get a little bit of background as to where it is that they're coming from. We'll get more into that and what drew you to NYU a little bit later. But as far as what got you into the game of golf itself, can you recall what it was or maybe who it was that got you into it?
So I was a huge daddy's girl growing up. And I just followed him everywhere he went. And so when I was younger, he'd always take me to the driving range. And I was this really chubby, 4-year-old. I was very, very chubby. And so I could just blast a ball yards away, but I had no control. And so I thought that was a lot of fun growing up. And so I guess, it was just my dad who introduced me to the sport, and I kind of just wanted to copy him.
Did you ever watch on TV at all, any events with him, while you were growing up that you might remember?
Yeah, there were a few events that were near the city, the U.S. Open at Olympic. He would take me there, and I think as a kid, I was more interested in the snacks and food than the actual game. But we went recently to the U.S. Women's Open, and that was a lot of fun, just watching them in their zone and hitting shots. Because the conditions are so hard, but they make it look so easy, and I was really impressed.
It's when you watch professional athletes not only performing at a high level, let's say on TV, whatever, okay, that's regular, but when you see it up close, that's different. You see the tiny little cues, all the prep that goes into it. It's really cool. I'm sure you've gotten this question a million times, but have you seen the Netflix documentary at all, Full Swing?
Yeah, I have. I've seen only the last 3, which is weird, but I've seen
Who were the last 3?
It was I think Rory was the last, and then there was Tony Finau, and I forget, but there were 2 kind of rookies. I forget their names.
Justin Thomas?
No, I didn't see that one.
Was the first
it
one.
Was he's from the same place as Joaquin Neiman.
Let's pull it up real quick. So there were 4 episodes, was it? And you saw the last 3?
I think there were 10 or something. I saw the last 3.
Yeah, you gotta understand. You gotta you gotta explain. How do you? Did you just randomly shuffle?
No, no. It was because my friend was already watching the series, and he was already towards the end. So
last one was Rory, Sahith Tigala.
Okay, yeah.
And Mito Pereira. I remember that
right.
one. Tony Finau, Colin Morikawa. I remember this one. And then did you watch any of the Live Golf stuff at all, or no? That was episode 5, so maybe just before.
No, I didn't see any of the Live Golf.
You got any thoughts on that at all, Live Golf? I mean, kind of whatever, doesn't really affect you, or?
At first, I was this is kind of weird. I didn't really understand, why there needed to be, a
whole other.
Yeah. But then, after hearing from my coach, these guys are away from their family for weeks.
That's facts.
And they're practicing from morning to night basically. And a lot of them have kids, and they don't have time to drive them to school or be there for family dinner. And so after hearing her perspective on it, they're now able to actually be a dad. I can understand why some of these guys chose to like go to that tour.
And what did you think about the actual episodes themselves? Did you feel like it properly encapsulated what it is to be like a competitive golfer, or?
Yeah, my favorite. Well, I only watched 3, but my favorite
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Tony's.
Sure.
And I cried watching his. Like,
Me too.
he is like so family oriented, and like I just loved how he always had his family with them. I didn't like how like they said that his family being there was a distraction for him.
Right.
I didn't understand that because I'm like, I think they're helping him. Like, if anything, like giving him more support.
Yeah.
But I really liked that episode.
Yeah, that certainly was portrayed that way. I would agree. I definitely encourage you to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I should.
And definitely anyone listening / watching, really, really good. I remember watching, no, I watched Breakpoint. I was just talking about it with the tennis podcast last week. If you are a video consumer and see me wearing the same thing, leave me alone. I just recorded like 2 hours ago. I remember watching the tennis one before the golf one. And I wasn't gonna watch the golf one, but then when I heard somebody on a different podcast say, like, yo, like, I'm watching it, and their wife is watching it, and they said, you don't even need to be into golf to, like, really enjoy it. I was like, yeah, like, that says a lot. Wanted to ask on kind of that same subject of, like, the pro circuit themselves, you know, might you have any favorite players, and why? Maybe all-time, currently?
Currently, I love Lydia Ko. I've always loved Lydia Ko. There was this one tournament back home at Lake Merced golf course. I think it was like Swinging Skirts, but they changed the name. She was always there, and she just always dominated on that course. And I just remember watching her for the first time. This, like, what was she, like 17 or something? And I was like, this is insane. Like, she's playing with like people in their like mid 30s, 20s, and she looks like she should be out there, and she should. And so I like the way like she kind of presents herself on the course. She obviously gets angry, but like you can never tell.
Right.
And I like that. Like, she's very consistent, and it's just something I want to be more like as a golfer.
I was going to ask exactly that. Like, were there any individuals whose game that you watched maybe growing up that you wanted to take a little bit from their game? Maybe not so much on, like, the actual X's and O's of, like, a swing, but even just, like, composure and off the field and things like that?
Yeah, definitely
Off the course.
Lydia. But I guess
Yeah.
all-time, like, Tiger Woods, of course.
Of course.
I just remember, like, every single tournament growing up I played in, if I wasn't feeling confident, I would just watch a video on Instagram or something, trying to, like, get his, like, aura or feel and, like,
That fire,
yeah.
right, that drive. Yeah, some people are just different. Some people are just different. Like, Tiger is always, like, equated to, like, Kobe in terms of, like, that competitiveness. Michael Jordan as well. So definitely some cool stuff there. Actually, I don't know, have you seen, maybe not seen it yet because it just came out, but, like, have you seen trailers for this movie Air?
Yeah, no, I want to
Yeah.
watch that.
No, definitely do. I literally just watched it yesterday.
Oh, it's out?
Yeah, it just came out on Friday.
Okay.
I think maybe select theaters this past Wednesday, but today's Monday. Super good, super good. Yeah, it's a story for those that are listening and don't know, the story about how Nike signed Michael Jordan, and the cast is pretty impressive. That was my first time in a movie theater. Do you remember the last time you were in a movie theater?
It was for Shang-Chi.
Oh, okay.
That was
When
the last
did that come
time.
out? I don't remember when that was.
That was like last year?
Last year?
Yeah.
Okay. That was my first time in a movie theater. It might have been pre-pan, to be honest. Yeah, like 4 years. It's a long time. But no, it was definitely worth it. Definitely inspired. And I only bring it up because, like, there were some moments of, like, that were inspiring, the way that, you know, Tiger can be and Kobe can be, etc. Wanted to next ask about, at what point did you know that you could compete at this level, the collegiate level? Maybe it was a certain moment, a certain performance, feedback from a certain person that you were like, you know what, yeah, like, I actually can continue to play the way that a very, very few and small percentage can.
So I didn't start playing competitive golf until my freshman year of high school. And compared to, like, other junior golfers, that's pretty late.
Yeah.
But, like, the one thing I had for me was, like, I was very chubby, so I was, like, very strong, and I could hit it very far, but I had no control. And so, like, you know, my scores weren't really reflecting, like, I guess, my talent. And I think it took me, like, until my junior in high school, or the summer going into my junior year, where, like, something just clicked. Like, I was, like, able to like consistently shoot like low 70s, mid 70s or whatever. And honestly, like, I don't even think like anything changed in my practice routine, but like maybe just like maturing and growing up, I just like realized like, oh, it's just a game. Like, it's literally one hole at a time. And then that's just how I like play it. I just like take each hole at a time. And that's how I like became consistent. And I like realized like, oh, like this is like fun. Like when you're playing good, it's fun. And that's something that like I wanted to do in college. And I was like, Dad, like, let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how did he receive that?
Well, I mean, he always like wanted to push me to play. I was very stubborn, and to be honest, like golf wasn't like my first love. Like I did not love the sport at all to begin with. In middle school, I was like absolutely in love with volleyball. I just loved the whole like team aspect and just like the whole community. Like, you know, we traveled to like Reno, and there's like this big like auditorium thing with like a bunch of courts, and like we're all playing, and like I really enjoyed that. But then my dad's like, hey kid, like you're not getting any taller, like we're gonna have to switch sports. And I'm like, and I was just crying, but I was like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
And then I think joining my high school team was when I like kind of got that team aspect again. I was like, oh, this is fun, like, you know, being with other girls who also enjoy the same sport. Like I got the same feeling as I did when I played volleyball.
That's really dope. Was volleyball the only sport that you played growing up, or besides golf, of course?
I like did a lot. I played basketball.
Okay.
I fenced for a little bit.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I have a story. Like my grammar school, they were like fencing prodigies, and so like all the moms would be like, just put your daughter in fencing. Like she'll love it. Like don't worry. I hated it. It was so hard. Like watching my like classmates play, I was like, wow, you guys are amazing, but this is just not for me. Like it was just like, I just didn't understand why like the sport was like, why are we stabbing each other? Like I just like did not get that. But no, like my classmates were amazing. Like some of them have like gone to like the Olympics and stuff, so like they're crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like international competition and all that. Do you remember what weapon you fenced with?
Foil?
Question mark.
I don't remember.
That's great. Okay, I didn't know that about you. Wanted to next ask about your welcome to college moment. That could be academic, that could be athletic, but a time in which you experienced, okay, wow, like this is definitely more elevated, and you know, I'm here in college now.
Oh my God, it was I think like not even like, I don't think school has started yet. It was like preseason, my freshman year, and we had just gone back from like Neshannock, and yeah, it's like a 2-hour drive back almost. And we get back and it's like already like 8 p.m. And I lived at the Rubin Hall, so
Where's that?
like Fifth Ave.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of far from Palladium. And I was like, wait, I have to walk alone? Like no one's gonna walk with me? Like
Yeah.
And that was like a wake up call. I was like, oh my God, like I have to do grown up things now. Like I have to like my mom can't pick me up in her like minivan and drive me home. Like I have to walk myself home. Yeah. I think that was when I realized like, oh, I'm in college.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a real thing. And like, obviously, you know, want to prioritize safety, but it also makes you grow up fast,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't always tell the story, but my girlfriend's little brother is 10 and he goes to school, he's in like 5th grade, literally 1 block from their apartment. And like, at first they were like really scared to let him just like walk like up the block. Right, but like it's New York, like you kind of develop your street smarts by just throwing somebody into the fire. Not that I am going to advocate my mom's approach, which was at 8 years old making me take the bus and the train by myself, but you definitely you learn a lot about yourself.
No, well, it's like weird too, cause like, well, I mean, like San Francisco isn't like New York at all. Like it's different, but like there were kids taking like this like the train and the bus and stuff to school.
Right.
But like, you know, I was like that sheltered, scared kid, and I always had my mom like drive me even to high school.
Did you get picked up and dropped off?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
3:30 sharp.
Yeah, the schedule never leaves you.
Yeah.
But it's also wild to think, because I tell this, my brother tried telling me this when I was a high school senior. My brother and I are 4 years apart. He's older. Where he was like, hey, like, I know you go to class at 8 o'clock, like high school, 8 o'clock every day. He was like, high school 8 and college 8 are not the same.
You know, yeah. I
Can
did
you
not
attest?
understand that.
Yeah.
Like, how did I have 7 classes back to back, like no breaks, like, and I was like chilling after school, like I was fine.
Unreal. Like,
Literally now I need a nap. Like I cannot function without a nap.
what time is your nap?
Like, probably like right now.
Yeah,
like,
you schedule it
yeah,
in.
like
Thank you for being so gracious with your time.
You're welcome.
we can take a nap right now. I'm tired myself. I'm a huge nap guy.
Yeah.
Big advocate for the nap. But then wait till you get to the real world where you're working a 9 to 5 ish, and you're like, damn, there's no nap built into this.
We
Brutal.
need more naps. Like
We do need more
normalize naps.
Normalized naps, normalized nap pods. We need more nap pods in here. Have you been in this building before?
This is
no,
my
you got lost.
Yeah, I did. I did get lost.
Tell me about where you went.
No, so I had class in Bobes, and so I was
Okay.
like, oh, I know how to I know how to get here. Like I'm gonna cut through that little like alleyway,
Yes, I know
and
what
I
you're talking
got here, and I was like, oh, this building is so nice. 181 Mercer, like, it has to be right here. And then I saw like it said like Bleecker or something, and I was like Bleecker, and so okay. And then I walked down more, then I saw like Houston. I was like, huh? And then I kept walking, and then I walked to like 196 Mercer or whatever.
Yeah, that's where the
and then the
office is
lady
at.
was like, oh, it's that building over there, and I was like, what? And then the security guard was like, oh, you have to enter from the other side, and I was like, huh? And then I went, and then there were like 2 front desk areas, and I didn't know which one to choose, and I was like, left or right, and I was like, left. And then she was like, oh, honey, it's over there, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, so I literally like could have been on time-ish.
No, you're good. You're good. The listeners have no idea.
Yeah, they
about,
don't know.
about the
I
punctuality.
was here on time.
Yeah, you nailed it. I wanted to next ask then about what drew you to NYU. We started to scratch the surface a little bit before, but like, what were some of the factors? I mean, you go coast to coast, right?
Yeah.
What drew you to New York in particular?
Looking back now, when I was like trying to recruit to play in college, I should have done a better job at like, like facility and like, playing golf in college. Like, I just like assumed that there was like a golf facility in New York. I don't know why. Like, I thought there'd be like a golf course in and not Golden Gate Park, Central Park.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's not unreasonable. Like,
Yeah.
that's a fair thing to think.
I just didn't think about that.
True.
And I don't know, I came to visit, actually, like, I think NYU was like one of the first schools that came to visit. And I just like felt, I didn't fall in love with the coach, but I really liked his personality, and he like kind of just sold me on it. I was like, yeah, I could really like see myself here. Because before this, I knew that I wanted to play golf in college, but I knew that I also like might not be good enough for the schools that I really want, like say UCLA or something. And so I was like, there are some really great D3 programs. And actually Emory reached out to me first. And I had no idea what Emory was or where it was.
Hell.
Yeah. Sorry. I went to go visit, and I was like, yeah, no, I cannot see myself like
In Atlanta.
yeah, in Atlanta for 4
Definitely
years.
different,
Well, not that like, I mean, Atlanta's like really fun. Like there's so much to do
Sick.
there, but like Emory, like it was like I don't like it's not in the city. Like I'm a city girl.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say too. You're not coming from the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
Right. So
like-
it's not like this was like an earth-shattering
No,
experience for
no,
you.
yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is like when I came to New York, I was like, this feels right. Like I'm in the city. Like this should be like this is where I should be.
When you're back home, do you drive at all?
Yeah, I have my license. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I mean, here you pretty much don't need it, right? I mean,
Yeah, you don't like,
Yeah.
but and also like I'd be too scared to drive here, even
It's
in
a
New
lot.
Jersey.
it's a lot. No, yeah, that's. Don't even get me started on Jersey drivers. Yes, this is a Jersey Slender podcast. I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, it's funny. I'm born and raised in Queens, and every once in a while, like I have to travel into the city for whatever. I actually do it pretty often. And one of my boys, who also grew up in Queens, he doesn't have his license, which is extremely common amongst my friends. I have way more friends without a license than with, because again, we're a bunch of people from the city.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, like I knew you were different when you actually voluntarily drive into the city. I'm like, yeah, that's facts. There's not many of us, but it is quite the hazard. How about, as you talked about before, taking a step back, your dad was super integral, just like family overall and family's role in your athletic life. Taking you to whatever it is that you needed, practice, and things like that. Just, looking back about that path, because, I'm sure it went by quickly.
Yeah, I did. So also my little brother plays golf too. He's a junior in high school right now. So growing up, we'd always like compete, and my dad like really capitalized on that. Like he'd be like, if you guys like whoever wins gets like $100, and like I'm sorry, we're siblings, but I'm gonna beat you. And so like looking back, like I think because of that, I saw my brother as like competition a lot. And so I would always just like, I wanted to beat him. I wanted to beat him so badly because he was really good. But looking back, I just wish like I saw us more as like teammates than as competitors. And I think like our golf game would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of late to that kind of notion as well. Like instead of trying to be so like cutthroat and defeat them, it's just like, learn about their thinking, their approach, their cues, right? Like, what are you thinking when you have this scenario? And that's a one-size-fits-all question and prompt for any sport. Is your brother going through the college recruiting process now at all? I don't know if he has any interest in playing collegiately, but
I don't know. He kind of like went through this weird like dry spell of just like not playing well.
Happens.
But like I'm sure he wants to play.
Gotcha. Are there any? I think we talked a little bit before we started rolling here, but like nicknames on the team or just anything that has come up from that dynamic?
Yeah, so my name's Camilla, and like when are you gonna find an Asian girl named Camilla? Like, let's be honest. And so like literally like every time I step on a tee box or like anywhere, they're like Camila, Camille, and I'm like, there's an A at the end, guys. But there's this one teammate I have, Summer. Yeah. She loves to call me Camila. And just like emphasis on the I and the L, and I don't know like what like something about that. It just like makes me cringe so hard. And I know Camilla is like originally like a Spanish name, and so like there's this guy on the team and he's from Spain, and he kind of says it like, I guess yeah. And so I'm just like no Camilla guys, please.
Yeah. Exactly. Lowercase L's.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the A at the end.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure you get Camilla all the time. Yeah. I'm sure you get Camille all the time. Okay, well, I was talking about this with Jimena from the women's tennis team just earlier. I don't know if you go to Starbucks, but she was like, Starbucks gets me wrong all the time.
No, I don't even bother saying Camilla. I just say Taylor. It's my cousin's name.
Is she aware of this?
No, she's talking to me. No, if I shared this, she'd be like, what? Like,
is this the clip? I think this is the clip.
No, I
Instagram.
think so. Yeah. I think we need to share this.
Email her Instagram. She's going to get a random notification.
Taylor Chung, everyone.
and she's the name for Starbucks orders throughout Soho and East Village, New York City. Is she in San Francisco or is she elsewhere?
Yeah, she's back in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Word. That's funny. Travel stories. Might you have any maybe that comes to mind over your few years with the team that kind of stick with you? Could have been a bus ride, airport, something like that.
I just know there's like a bunch of like bathroom stories. Like we're like so far from like all of the other schools, so like the bus ride is super long.
Yes.
And none of us want to use the bathroom on the bus. So there's just been so many times where we're all like fighting for our life, like waiting for that like pit stop. I don't know. We have so many great stories. I don't know why I can't think of like.
When you really have to go to the bathroom, like what are your mental cues that I'm like, it's fine, like I'm gonna get through it?
No, I'm just always like, I can hold it. I've done this before. I can make it.
But there's nothing worse than that like piercing feeling.
Like where it almost trickles out. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. But the worst part is like sometimes I give in. I'm like, you know what? I'll just use the bathroom on the bus. But like I sit there and I'm like, it won't come out. Like it just stuck.
Because you've held it for that long.
Yeah. Because I'm like,
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. No, I mean, the only person that I'm not going to say the only person. Kai has a tough time. He goes to the bathroom a lot. Like, we'll be in staff meetings. He's like, yo, I really got to go. And I'll just lean over next to him in staff meeting. I'm like, yo, just go to the bathroom. It's fine. No, it hurts. But then it's also I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. I just went through it like 2 weeks ago. It was a Saturday, whatever. It is impossible to find a public bathroom in New York City / like places that you can more easily go. It's kind of the real epidemic here.
No, for real.
Yeah.
But like, I know like if you're in the Soho area, just pretend you're shopping in like Aritzia, like whatever.
Aritzia, TJ
Yeah.
Maxx across the
Yeah.
street.
Yep.
Yep. And like what is that? Like the Spring Kenmare Broome area.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
street? Yeah. You see, you know what it is.
Yeah, I know.
Chestnut
I have to
checkers.
pee like so like often that like I just like
Yeah.
I have to like map out like all of the public bathrooms.
Aritzia's got a nice one.
No, they do.
Yeah. Well, there's this TikTok account. I don't know if you follow it, but it's called Go NYC, and it's this woman who, she used to just make TikToks on like, hey, like, so if you're in, I don't know, wherever, like Columbus Circle, go to the Apple Store. The code is like 6679. Like she'll
my God,
put the she'll put the
yes.
codes
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Same thing with Chipotle, where she's like, if you're at the Chipotle on 10th and 4th, whatever, the key code is this is that. And then she took it another level, and she was like, yo, like we should create an app. So now there's an app, which I got to download, would have helped me a couple of weeks ago, where you can select like the area you're at and then zoom in on the pin and then get your little hack.
Wait, I like need this app.
Yeah, for real. Well, it's also funny that you mentioned like always needing to go to the bathroom. I did something with the track team before, and I'm curious as to your confidence level. We did it with tennis just earlier today. If 5 different brands of water were put out in front of you, do you think you could tell the difference, like blindfolded?
I think I can.
Yeah.
Like I know what Evian tastes like. Like
good
it
or
had-
bad? Like, are you a fan or not?
I'm not a fan because it has like that weird like plasticky taste.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is your go-to brand of water?
Oh my god. If I could be judged. If Smart Water.
Huh.
Smart Water has a nice like.
I don't know that anyone really likes Smart Water's taste as much as they just like the packaging in the bottle.
Maybe it's the packaging, but
Gotta be.
it's a nice crispy taste. But you know what? Don't hate on Kirkland water. Kirkland water's pretty good.
Yeah.
What? Do you not agree?
No, it's just because I lump that right there. Because Kirkland is sold at Costco, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know.
Yeah,
It's my
Costco.
guess. Whereas BJ's carries Wellesley Farms.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, it's WF, whatever. Like it's on all the packaging. Wellesley Farms is what I consistently stock in my apartment just because I live near BJ's. It's got a parking lot. I can drive right up. No issue. Kirkland, not bad. But I don't know what happened. I mean, I guess I know what happened. You know how water bottles have like a super skinny cap now?
Yeah.
Not a fan. Not a fan. I miss the big cap. You know what I
Oh.
mean? Smart Water's got the big cap. Essentia.
Oh, like the big cup like this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Whereas like let's say like a Poland Spring or a Kirkland, it's like the size of
It's
a
like
dime.
flimsy, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the size of a dime. I'm glad that I found someone as passionate about the water discussion as I am. Going back to golf-related matters, your approach prior to competition, what does the prep look like? Not necessarily, but also interested in hearing about the physical component, but also like the mental component, because I think if I took anything away from Full Swing, there's the mindset going into it.
Yeah. So I'm like very big on mental. I think my mental game is probably the weakest part of my game. And so before tournaments, I really like to, well, actually my Coach Katie, she gave me this book to read last year because I was just like really struggling mentally. And I think a line that really stuck with me was like, no one's going to remember if you shoot 67 or if you're going to shoot 97. And so I'm like, that's so true. And so like, I try to go into every tournament, like, not that like it's not important, but that like what I shoot at the end of the day isn't like gonna affect me. Like
It's not your worth.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I like to do is like really focus on like hitting solid shots before the tournament, just to like, find the club face and just like get a good feel of like my swing. Like I don't really care. Like I like to see like a draw, a nice like, right to left. But if I'm hitting like a left to right, like that doesn't bother me. Like as long as like it feels good on the face, then like I'm good. And so like when I get to the tournament, I just like want to be able to like see shots like that I am like saying in my head, like, oh, hit it right. And I hit it right, then I'm like, okay, that's good. But I try not to think too much at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same in golf, but I am curious as to your mindset. There was somebody that said that some of the best, or rather most talented baseball players are the ones that are not necessarily the smartest, because you're not thinking, you're just doing, right? You're not like overthinking. I don't
No,
know,
that's
is that
so
the same
true. There's
case?
actually
Yeah.
like a player on our team, Madison. She thinks, but like when I watch her play, she just like does it. Like she just like goes up to the ball, hits it, and like it's just like straight every single time, and like she makes every single putt.
I was just sort of related. What year is Madison?
She's a sophomore now.
Sophomore. So, well, speaking of underclassmen, I was just going through like my voting for like the different departmental awards for the end of year ceremony, and one of them is like newcomer of the year, and Tia Chowdhury is one of those nominees.
She's a beast.
Unreal, which is why I wanted to bring her up. Like, what have you
Wait,
seen
no,
out of her
Tia's
game?
a great example for that last
Yeah,
one.
there you go.
Yeah.
What do you see out of her game? Yeah, tell me more about it.
Well, we all make fun of her for like her putting style, and she like even agrees too, because it's so whack. Which is like, you know, typical. It's like back and forth, but hers is kind of like all over the place, and like it's so cute because she just like laughs about it, and then she makes a birdie, and I'm just like, what?
I was gonna say it did be working because she's had a number of awards this year.
No, she's
like weekly and stuff like that.
I've like played with her a couple times during practice, and just like, you know, like she's just like she's so funny because like we're just like walking and she's like joking around with us, and then like when she sets up to the ball, she's like something about like something just like transcends, and she's just like a different person, and she just can just like hit any shot she wants, and then it's just amazing to watch.
She just flips a switch, huh?
No, quite literally, yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that can't even like joke on the side and then lock in. Like they need to be locked in the entire time. Like some people have like the blinders on. I so deeply admire the people that can be like, yeah, X, Y, Z. All right, it's my turn. You know what I mean?
No. I'm the player that's like, no, I can't joke around. Like I have to be silent the entire round.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's hard to switch it on and off. And the people that can, I don't know how they do. You started to talk a little bit about it, but let's just go a little deeper on just the team culture and how that has pretty much developed. I know you brought in a lot of new faces, but you know how they've been able to mesh and just for the culture overall.
Yeah, I feel like our team's like really close.
Seems like
we have like a bunch of new freshmen, and they can all play. Like they're super talented, and so like just watching them like the fire that they have when they compete and like when they practice, it's just amazing to see that. And you know, like I'm not old, but I feel old when I'm like around them, and so like when I watch them, I'm like, was I like that? Like wow. No, but they're amazing, and you know, I feel like we all kind of have like the same personality. It's like funny because like I think we're like the only team that like jokes around at tournaments, and I don't know if coach likes that, but like because like we'll be in the driving range and we'll just like kind of goof around, but like we're serious at the same time. But like other teams are like straight like locked in, focused. But like I love that we can like have funs even during like serious times.
Yeah, that's important, right? Especially over the course of a long season that spans not just several months, but like fall and spring.
Yeah.
How do you handle that grind? Because there's only so many sports that, you know, that do span multiple semesters like that.
I kind of like it because it just reminds me of like high school. Well, I mean, like golf is just year round. So like, like as a junior golfer, like we just played from the fall, winter, spring, summer. And so being able to play in the fall and spring, it's like kept me in check a bit, like in terms of like, you know, prioritizing school and golf at the same time. But, you know, at the same time, it can also be like time consuming and draining. And so like, I think the breaks that we have in between is when I just like, I don't even touch a club. I'm like, I just need some time, like to just be me.
Yeah. I think that like, I guess you could pretty much refer to it as like kind of the J term type ish area, maybe a little prior, like after the holidays, maybe through the holidays, between the holidays. I think that portion is kind of what keeps you all from like burnout.
Yeah.
Because like the tennis student athletes that we were speaking to earlier, they were like, yeah, like that was a real thing, like in juniors, like throughout high school, stuff like that, where I was just cooked. Did you ever experience burnout like on that front, or do you feel like that little getaway allowed you to stay away from it?
No, I've felt it. I think like before our fall season used to be a little bit longer, and I used to be so burnt out because it would always end around midterms or during midterms, and you know, like we're traveling like an hour for practice for like 5 hours, get back, and it's already like 8 o'clock. We have to take the subway back home
gotta eat,
and
gotta shower,
make dinner
and
do work. And like at that point, I just want to sleep, but I still have to like, you know, find like the last bit of energy in me to get my work done. And so I think beginning like my freshman year, because I didn't play my sophomore year, but freshman year it was like definitely tough, just like managing like everything and like also being in the city.
You feel like that's where the team component really factors in, though, of just like, yeah, like this is tough, this is a grind, but at least I ain't doing something that's tough and a grind alone.
Yeah, no, I think we're like really great about like being so like understanding of like this like whole schedule. Like, you know, like we're all different like majors, but like we know that like what we're going through is like super tough, and like we're always there for each other, like during finals and during midterms and stuff, just like trying to root for each other.
One of the last couple of things that I had was really just about playing for the coaching staff overall, Coach Katie, but, you know, how have you enjoyed kind of playing under them?
Yeah, so I've been playing with Coach Katie's for my last 2 years now, and, you know, it's a lot different from my freshman year when I had Coach Brad, and, you know, I really like Coach Katie's coaching style when it comes to, like, tournaments. I was like so brutally honest with her last season. I was like, Coach, like I love you, but like can you not follow me? And like she respects that. Like she like understands that some players just like need to be by themselves, and like she also knows when to like kind of like be there like from a distance and like give support. So I like that. But you know, I think she's great at like kind of like telling us what we need to hear.
Yeah, I think to understand and respect that boundary is huge, because we don't always get that growing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially for me, like as a child of immigrant parents, they would just like always be in my ear.
No, literally. Like my dad's gonna follow me from hole number 1 to hole number 18.
He's going step for step with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Camilla, is there anything else that you had for me before I go ahead and wrap this?
No, I had a lot of fun today.
I hope so. You were a great guest. It's very difficult when it's just one-on-one. It's typically at least 3 people in the room, whether it's 2 guests or 2 co-hosts, but you did your thing. Silence Behind the Violence podcast, episode number 18. Keep it locked to GoNYUathletics.com/NYUathletics across the board on social. New episode every